All right. So, first of all, I shouldn't be talking while I'm doing this because I tend to zone out. But I know that insensitivity to one kind of like it can kind of beget more insensitivity from others. You know, the more people are being extra insensitive online, it's just becomes a mess. All right, so I wanted to really just kind of just for my 5G people. So 5G, as you know, if you aren't aware, let me just be clear on what I'm talking about. So there's people who are pushing the idea that 5G is the cause of um, COVID-19. And as a result of that, their proof with that are like these videos, these kind of like these YouTube videos. We all go to Google or YouTube University, and we watch the conspiracy theory videos. They all got that music. You know what I'm talking about. Like you play the video and it just got this dun 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 dun. You got this guy talking in the background. This guy, he always got on glasses or something like that, and it gets like real like interesting. Like, and some of these people that are talking don't have like, they never share their background or their titles and their researches and their studies. They don't really know what they're talking about. None of them have like any history or background or credentials in like radio anything. But for some reason it seems like the right ones will repost it uh, and will really convince the world and try to convince the world. And those who disagree with them or try to challenge them, um, everyone's panties get twisted up. You start seeing skid marks, and there's a lot of dissension amongst people in social media. So I wanted to kind of keep my distance from it, but I've seen so many people sharing it, I mean, everybody. It started on Twitter for me. I love Twitter, and then it went from Twitter to Facebook, and it's kind of just everywhere right now. So anyway, so what I did was, I love a good conspiracy theory, and I think because I like going down the rabbit hole, like I have no issues with rabbit holes. Like I love me a rabbit hole. Like I love that kind of stuff. So when I first listened, I wasn't so like surprised. I'm like, that makes sense. But then something was like, before you go, because you start seeing people like really hype about it. I said, well, let me just find out when like the very first 5G towers were built. And lo and behold, the very first 5G tower was built in April of 2019, and that was in South Korea. So I said to myself, all right, well, if it was built then, what is the likelihood that we've had this kind of virus type of situation, So I just waited a little bit, and I said, okay, well, maybe they wouldn't know, about coronavirus or whatever the case is. Maybe we wouldn't know. Then of course, over time, months pass, November, then if you are following the conspiracy theories, then you would learn that in November, I think, or was it December, that Wuhan, China was like one of the main testing areas for 5G. One of the main, but not the first. So I said, okay, all right, well, that's a thing. Okay, cool. All right, so then time passed, people are having all types of symptoms, people are catching things, yada, 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 yada. Now, 5G was in the United States for quite some time. I haven't researched how long 5G was in the United States, but I know that we were talking about 5G, which stands for fifth generation. That's, we've had towers being built for quite some time, right? So I'm like, okay, all right. Still, that wouldn't necessarily suggest that it would be caused by the towers, but you don't really know for sure. So before I watched the videos like that, like before I really fell down the rabbit hole, something was like, well, just go check out. Think about the one place that you're not really hearing much of COVID-19. And then look up their 5G towers in relation to the areas. So something was like, well, then check Africa, because people are, hung up on Africa not having any cases whatsoever. And while I thought that to be true as well, I decided to take a gander. And I'm going to show you what I saw. right? Now let me put this down and get my shit together. All right, so I'm reading an article that mentions that 5G networks were in the US. This article was dated July of 2019. So that would indicate we're not going to just assume that the towers were built in July. Towers would have had to been built before they were like rolled out by T-Mobile. So T-Mobile debuted 5G maps for Atlanta, Cleveland, Dallas, Los Angeles, Las Vegas, and New York, showing dot streaks, boxes of magenta colored 5G coverage running across parts of these 6 major cities. Okay, now let me see if I can show you what I'm looking at. And, okay, hold on for a second. Here's the article that I'm reading. They were live, okay, and this is dated July 1st. The article is dated July 1st of 2019, but that's neither here nor there. That was just a side note. But anyway, back to what I was saying. Okay, so back to Africa. So what I did was, I'm looking at the COVID-19 map right now. And the COVID-19 map for Africa shows a couple spotted cases. And I related that to like the 5G map. All right, so here's what Africa looks like right now with COVID. All right, so look, we have how many cases in Egypt right now? Confirmed 850, 52 deaths, 179 recovered, and 619 active. All right, Algeria, we have 986. You can read it. I don't have to read it all out loud. Okay. Ghana, 204, 5 deaths. Okay, let's look. Oops. Let's look down in South Africa. Confirmed 1462, 5 deaths. Yada, 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 yada. Okay, so I'm looking at the OOKLA 5G map. I want to say UCLA so bad, but I'm... All right, so look. This map is based off of 3 different deployment types of 5G. Commercial availability, which means here, a 5G network is present and devices are available for consumers to purchase and use. Limited availability stands for 5G networks is present, but devices are limited to select consumers. A pre-release is a 5G network hardware is in place, but is currently in testing and or not yet accessible to consumers. I have all 3 selected. We're looking at Africa right now, and what do we see? None. Barely. So that would lead you to think, okay, well, maybe these people travel from other countries. They were positive when they came to Africa, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. However, what about the people that have already lived here? We see there are absolutely no towers in some of these countries here. So if that is the case, would it be 5G, or would it simply just be the fact that it is really an aggressive type of virus? If this is not 5G at all, if 5G is not messing with anyone's immune system and is just literally just another virus, would that not be a probable, would that not be a possibility? You know what I mean? Does it have to be 5G? Is it okay to consider other possibilities? Okay, look at Brazil right now. All right, we're in South America. Let's take a look here at the map. Now, let's look here. Oops, sorry. All right, look at these cases here. Almost 8,000, 120 something recovered. Chile, all right, look at the numbers. Argentina, look at the numbers, keep going. Okay, now we're gonna go back to the map. Now, if you consider the amount of distance that these things travel, they travel about 1,000 feet from what Google University is saying. I don't think for these 5G towers that are, some of them that aren't even active, or they are active, they're deployed, but how is it that we have thousands here and look at the number of the towers? So again, is it at all possible that the people that have been traveling to and from are bringing it. But even if they are bringing it and transmitting it, if you have others that have not been exposed to the quote unquote radiation from the 5G towers, how are they possibly catching it? You know what I'm saying? Like, and then others are saying, well, the numbers are inflated. But I don't really know if that's like, no one. Okay, here's the deal. No one really knows what they're talking about. And I think because no one really knows what they're talking about, naturally the brain wants to try to like define or understand something. So we go to like wanting to understand everything. We want to explore it. We want to just figure it out. So it's like we go to the worst possible cause, and then we get our stomachs all in a knot. We get our panties all tight. We get all extra anxious, and then we are arguing with people who may not agree or seek to understand your theories and what you're presenting. And then all you're presenting in reply to that is a YouTube video where the music is already in like D minor or A minor. It's already in it, and you know how music it can stimulate emotion and trigger certain emotions. And especially in the minor key. People who know about that know this. Musicians know that. Like, if you have a song in a certain key, it's going to stimulate fear, sadness, whatever it is. So you're watching these videos about the Illuminati. That was a whole other thing. You had these Illuminati videos, and they all had that same kind of dun 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 music, and they were talking about this and they were talking about that. People who had no type of who didn't share their credentials, anything, were just dropping all these different types of whatever, and they were talking in certain tones of voices, and it was just so extra. It was so extra, and somehow so many people ate that up. And I'm not going to get into that, but some parts of that is accurate in terms of certain things. Whatever, but sometimes I feel as though there's this. You run to the worst possible solution, or the worst possible cause, and not have no solutions, have no type of what can you offer, nothing. You just want to alert everybody and then argue with people, and then have no solutions, no ways of getting around it. What are we all going to do? Drink elderberry every day? Present to me what your solution is. Do you know the distance, a traveling distance of a radio wave? Do you have any type of background in radio, anything to know? Do you have any of that kind of background? Or are you just watching YouTube videos? Do you know for sure? Have you worked in that field? Do you know? I don't know, so I'm not afraid to say that I don't know. I don't know. So even with all that I showed you, even with this map thing, people can find so many loopholes in that. I don't really care. The bottom line is that I still can say to you that I don't know. So to not know something is just as okay as knowing something. It's okay. So I don't know why all of social media right now, but just a couple of people right now on Facebook and Twitter and whatever, you're sharing these videos with no type of knowledge of anything, but you're saying let's alert the world, and these are the connections, and you're sharing people who have no background or anything, and they're just talking, and you're like, I don't really know if I can trust what you're saying, especially with that doom and gloom ass music in the background. What am I really? I'm supposed to? Could you imagine if I was trying to educate everyone on the dangers of acrylic paint, right? If I'm saying to you guys, okay, this artist loft paint is extremely toxic, and just by being in the presence of it, sitting in the presence, the sun can reflect off this plastic little particles that's going to affect your skin and get into your skin. And if you don't have enough vitamin D, it's going to sit on the surface of your skin for 3 days. And as I'm saying all this, I have this backtrack of music, dun, 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 dun. What the fuck y'all gonna think? You gonna think it's real, right? If I sound so educated, if I throw on some glasses right now, and if I change my voice, and if I talk to you, and if I look dead in this camera, and if I talk to you about how toxic non-toxic paint is, I can say this, and with proof, I know that it's non-toxic, but I can tell you that it is, and I just, guys, the reason why I decided to make this video is just simply because too many people who I thought really had it together are just falling apart. And I understand that, you don't really know. So, you just don't know. And of course, because you don't know, you have all types of feelings and emotions about it. But the last thing that you should be doing is attacking someone else for seeking to understand or wanting to make sense of something that you can't even make sense of yourself. That makes no sense. It makes no sense, guys. So just for a second, just say that you don't know. If you don't have solutions, I really would just was take a couple seats in the back and go to class. But it just doesn't help. It doesn't help anyone to say be on the alert and watch out for this and watch out for that. Somebody said this, somebody said that, and then it just all it will do is just makes you look like a lunatic. And I'm sorry, but it's just the truth. Like, if you have no type of I would be more apt to listen to someone who has a background in radio, who's installed these different things, who know how you know emissions and the radiation, all that kind of stuff works. I'm more apt to listen to them than I am listening to someone who's just sitting on a camera with some music in the background. Like, and I'm sure there are people out there. I'm sure we all know there's dangers in Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. We all know that. But it's you have to be surrounded by that kind of stuff. We know that. But like, uh my point is this: just take a seat, just relax. Like, if anything, just relax. And if you don't know, just say you don't know. But pretending like you do and throwing everybody else all across, just dragging people by their necks is just not going to help you. So just chill.